So I wanted to take a minute and talk about a seed trial we did where we spread alfalfa seeds out and then applied a compost extract on it. I'll tell you right off the bat that we did not see the kind of results that we had hoped for. I think there are a couple reasons anyway that I can think of on why that didn't work out. The first is that we used a compost from our aerated static pile, and we didn't have the labs at the time, but that was an okay compost, but not the best, and certainly nowhere near in comparison to what the Johnson Sioux labs on the Beam compost website are coming back as. So we were not applying anywhere near the number of bacteria and fungi that you would with a really good Johnson Sioux compost. The other, I think, has to do with the amount of coating that we used. So what we did is we took just maybe 10 pounds of our compost, and I used creek water. I like to use creek water because it's got microbes in it already and doesn't have the issues with fluoride and chloride that you can get with treated water and so on. And I just mixed it up in a slurry, and then we used a nylon mesh bag and poured it through the nylon mesh bag to get rid of the larger particles. And then I just used a backpack sprayer. This actually has like a 1/2-inch line going to a very large, fairly large orifice that drips down into the airstream, and that actually is what atomizes or disperses the liquid. So there's no issues with plugging or anything like that. The nylon mesh bag was more than enough. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this video here. So here I am spraying it on, and you can kind of get a sense for how much liquid I'm putting down. It was actually just enough to wet the seeds. And then what we did is we kind of moved them around with our hands. It was a warm, sunny day, and the black tarp and the heat from the sun was enough to dry the seeds quickly. We were concerned about them being wet and then putting them back into the bag before they went out onto the field. Of course, it is important to get them planted within 24 hours or even less than that, according to Christine Jones, because otherwise a lot of your microbes are going to die out. And actually, in the end, what we ended up doing was we just put them in a kind of relatively small pile. I would wet the pile on the top. We'd mix the pile a little bit. I'd wet a little more, and so on until all the seeds were wetted, and then they were spread out and dried. So they got a light coating. All the seeds got a light coating, were dampened with this extract. But I think the quality of the extract, as well as the fact that it was not that heavy of a coating, makes a difference. So, for example, if you look at, here's Professor David Johnson making up a slurry actually out of milk and molasses and extra water, and he mixes that up until he gets a pancake-like batter, and then he uses 1/4 of that per 50-pound bag of seed. So he'll put the seed in a cement mixer and dump in this pancake batter consistency of compost and coat the seeds. So the seeds actually have a pretty heavy coating on. So that's, in my estimation, quite a bit more biology is going on to the seeds. And likewise, if you take a look at Jay Young from Young Red Angus Farms, you know, here he is with a tote of extract, so 300 gallons, and he's dripping it down on the seeds as they're going up the conveyor belt. And then I think they end up going through an auger after that, so that liquid ends up getting mixed in more with the seeds. And he's saying that he's having good results. So yeah, I think you have people like Christine Joes, it talks about the biostimulants going through the seeds, and then there's a Dr. White, Dr. James White, who talks about endophytes and the fact that endophytes are these microbes that can penetrate the seed and the plant and work symbiotically to benefit the plant. Yeah, I think that's important, but I also think it's important just to get the sheer number of microbes in the soil with the seeds, so that when the seeds start putting out exudates, those microbes are waiting there to take off. So we are going to change our approach for next year, and I think I'm going to try Professor David Johnson's method first, just because I like the fact that these seeds are coated with a sugar and milk, which of course is good food for the microbes, as well as the fact that they are coated with a fair amount of material, and see how that goes.